Hello from Inside Drug Discovery. This video presents a drug, Lifyorli, which was recently approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. This video emphasizes the medicinal chemistry properties of the drug rather than clinical data from patients. Lifyorli was approved on March 25, 2026. Lifyorli is approved for the treatment of platinum-resistant epithelial ovarian, fallopian tube, or primary peritoneal cancer in patients who have received 1 to 3 prior systemic treatment regimens, at least one of which must be bevacizumab. Lifyorli's active pharmaceutical ingredient is relacorilant. The drug is administered orally once per day in a 150 milligram dose over 3 days. The sponsor for the NDA is Corcept Therapeutics. A link to the prescribing information insert of Lifyorli is shown on this slide as well as in the video description. Let's talk about why this treatment occurs as a 3-day regimen. Lifyorli is approved for use with a form of paclitaxel. Paclitaxel is an oncology drug that is administered by IV infusion. The original form of the drug is linked to high risks of hypersensitivity. A newer form of paclitaxel involves dosing the compound in a nanoparticle albumin-bound version called nab-paclitaxel, which has a lower incidence of hypersensitivity. Lifyorli's 3-day regimen involves dosing Lifyorli on the day before, day of, and day after nab-paclitaxel infusion. Relacorilant, the API in Lifyorli, acts as a glucocorticoid receptor antagonist with a Ki of 7.9 nanomolar. Antagonism on the glucocorticoid receptor boosts the efficacy of paclitaxel by suppressing certain cancer cell survival pathways. Here is the structure of relacorilant with its physicochemical properties. Relacorilant is an oral drug, and these properties are consistent with an orally administered compound. Yes, the molecular weight is a bit on the higher side, but everything else is okay. I will note that Swiss ADME sometimes does overcount the number of hydrogen bond acceptors. I believe this HBA count of 11 includes 2 pyrazole nitrogens that are using their lone pairs to satisfy aromaticity. If you remove these 2, you get down to 9 hydrogen bond acceptors and avoid the second Lipinski violation, for what that's worth. When I do look at the structure of relacorilant, I do notice this quaternary chiral center. Quaternary carbons can be a synthetic challenge. Let's quickly see how that carbon is installed in the compound. Installation of the quaternary carbon can be set up through a Robinson annulation between this cyclic beta-ketoester and methylvinyl ketone. Furthermore, the reaction can be catalyzed by L-proline to achieve an antioselectivity in the product. From this compound in the upper right, you can see that many of the features of the core scaffold of relacorilant are in place. This sequence was pulled from an old patent, 2005, so this may or may not be consistent with the actual commercial synthesis of the API, but it is a very attractive route to this structure and the quat center. Here are selected PK properties of relacorilant. Nothing really jumps off this slide, though the half-life is quite long at 27 hours. I would guess that after 3 doses, the patient has a reasonably high load of the drug on board, and the efficacy of the drug will extend well past just the 3 days of dosing. Relacorilant is acted upon by cytosolic reductases and CYP3A enzymes. There is one prevalent active circulating metabolite, CORT 125295. I wasn't able to find the structure of this compound, but I'm going to guess that CORT 125295 arises from reduction of the ketone to an alcohol. That might be completely wrong. Relacorilant and its metabolites are ultimately excreted primarily in the urine, with only a small fraction excreted unchanged as parent drug. Lifyorli does carry safety concerns. As an immunomodulatory drug, there are risks of neutropenia and contracting severe infections. Adrenal insufficiency is another concern. Patients taking other glucocorticoid treatments should take precautions before taking Lifyorli, and embryo-fetal toxicity is yet another concern. Adverse reactions observed in at least 20% of patients include fatigue, nausea, diarrhea, and rash, as well as a few laboratory abnormalities. That is the end of this summary of the NDA approval of Lifyorli, which was announced by the U.S. FDA on March 25th of 2026. Lifyorli contains relacorilant as its active pharmaceutical ingredient. Lifyorli is approved for platinum-resistant epithelial ovarian, fallopian tube, or primary peritoneal cancer. I appreciate your watching to the end of the video. Please give feedback or questions in the comments section. Take care.